Good evening. I'm Jeff Snyder, Channel 7 News. Taking a look at tonight's headlines, a Biloxi woman drowns. Representative John Stennis is hospitalized. Calhoun City Sonic Drive-In donates to the Calhoun City Band for new uniforms. Blue Springs man found guilty in killing dogs. And we'll have a look at the weather, and here's Gene Redwine.
In sports tonight, we'll take a look at college and local basketball action. Rumor is Coach Sloan may be leaving. We'll have more news, and we'll have it all after these words.
The Bruce Rotary Club will hold its annual fundraising auction this Saturday on the square beginning at 10:30 a.m. There will be items of every kind. The items, by the way, were donated by the business and individuals of the area. All proceeds will go to aid various civic organizations in the area. Also, Santa will be on the square from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. this Saturday, with the 21st Annual Bruce Christmas Parade beginning at 2 p.m. Taking a look in other area news, Susan Hosley, age 35, of Biloxi, drowned in the Mississippi Sound after capsizing a 16-foot boat from which she and two male companions were fishing. Stacy Robinson, age 20, and Everett Smith, 35, both of Biloxi, managed to swim to shore following late Tuesday night accident. The two had pulled the little woman's body to shore, and coroner Ed Little pronounced her dead at 8:15 p.m. State Representative John Hampton Stennis, age 47, of Jackson, suffered an attack of dizziness Wednesday and entered the Baptist Medical Center for tests. Stennis, an attorney, was walking from his office building to the parking lot at the time. He will be admitted for observation, a hospital spokesman stated. I asked him what he wanted to say. That's what he wanted to say it, and he also stated that he was in good condition. A member of Stennis' office reported the attack occurred on the street outside his office. The Calhoun City Sonic Drive-In had a big promotional day to raise funds to help buy the new Calhoun City High School band uniforms. Sonic manager John Shipp presented a check to band director Robert Earl Plunkett for one half of the proceeds from the sales at the Sonic on November the 20th. In addition, the band students who waited on cars made $83 in tips. Pepsi Cola Bottling Company of Tupelo furnished all the drinks sold that day, and Hardin's Bread Company donated one half of the bread used. WJRL radio station advertised all week long at no charge for the band. A satellite prisoner who walked away from a workforce near Calhoun City Monday afternoon, November the 22nd, returned to the state satellite facility at Pittsburgh Wednesday afternoon, a little after 1 p.m., according to John Warner, head of the prison camp. David Viverette went to his home in Leake County and visited his family and wife, but returned 2 days later and gave himself up. He had been returned to the Parchment Penitentiary, forfeiting his work privilege of living at the county facility. A Blue Springs man was found guilty Wednesday of shooting and killing 3 deer dogs on Thanksgiving Day. Union County Sheriff Wayne Gaines stated that they apprehended him that Wednesday. Donald Copley, age 50, of Blue Springs, was found guilty of shooting and killing 3 deer dogs by Justice Judge Holder Grubbs. The incident occurred on November the 25th. Cooley was ordered to pay $900 in restitution fees and fined $600 for killing the dogs. He was given a suspended 90-day jail sentence also. Other area news, a young woman was arrested at Mike's in Derma on Thursday, November the 18th, and charged with shoplifting with a pair of jeans. Lisa Galladay, age 18, who gave her address as Aberdeen, was arrested by Derma Marshal Jerry Vaughn, who was called by store owner Betty Harden to investigate the incident. Mrs. Harden said that a clerk stopped the girl outside the store, asked her to come back in, and found a pair of unpaid-for jeans under her coat. Both the Calhoun County Sheriff's Department and Marshal Vaughn were contacted. Mayor Doc Gabbert set bond at $100, which the woman forfeited, and she failed to show up for the Derma City Court on November the 23rd. We'll be back with the weather and much more right after this.
In the Houston Invitational Tournament last night, Hulka defeated Woodland again in a boys' game, 75-60. Hulka played their first home game against Woodland earlier this year in the game you saw here on Channel 7. They defeated them in that game also. Robert Woodard led their scoring last night with 23 points. Trance Wofford led Woodland with 24. Also, the Starkville and Tupelo boys played there in Houston last night. The Tupelo team lost that one 71-64, and the Woodland girls defeated Aberdeen 41-34. Tonight, the Bruce Trojanettes will face the girls from Starkville there at Houston. The second game will put the Hulka and Houston boys in action, capping it off with the Hulka and Tupelo girls. And it was another good night for Pontotoc in the Pontotoc Invitational Tournament. The North Pontotoc girls downed Amory in their game 59-42, a close game right to the end. Calhoun City boys lost another one. It was a close game also, but the Vikings came out on top 66-64. Anthony Campbell and Thomas Powell led the scoring for the Wildcats. The Pontotoc girls had it a little easier as far as the winning margin as they defeated the Lady Wildcats 38-17. Gwen Sprayberry and Lynn Phillips led the scoring for the Lady Wildcats. In college action, State lost to Houston last night 74-65. The size, strength, and rebounding of Houston led to the demise of the Dogs. After a late first half tie, State never got back in the game. The Rebs had a better night, though, as they easily defeated Carson Newman 91-70 there at Oxford to start the season off for the Rebels. Carson Newman played a good, hard game all the way through, and Coach Hunt seemed to be pleased with everything except his team's guarding, which he says must improve. And rumor has it that Ole Miss head coach Steve Sloan may be leaving. Rumor has it he may take an interview next week for a position at Duke University, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. As you know, they've had another losing season this year, and rumors abound everywhere. And for those of you who are big fans of Memphis State, you'll want to know that thanks to Keith Lee, the Tigers beat St. Louis last night 75-56. That's a look at sports. We'll take a break now and be back with Jeff and the weather after this.
The Channel 7 viewing area weather forecast calling for a 30% chance for thundershowers this afternoon. High should be near 80. Winds southeast 15 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, a 60% chance for thundershowers. Winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, an 80% chance of thundershowers. Lows in the mid-70s. Winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Extended forecast Saturday through Monday. A chance of rain on Saturday. Decreasing cloudiness and cooler on Sunday. High temperatures in the upper 60s with the lower temperatures in the upper 50s. Partly cloudy on Monday at 5 o'clock now at Channel 7. We have 69 degrees. Winds are from the southeast at 5 miles per hour. That's a look at the Channel 7 viewing area weather. We'll be back right after this.
Well, as you probably noticed again, our programming's not here at Channel 7, all of it at least, that we've been expecting. It was supposed to have arrived the 1st of December. As of yet, we haven't received it. There is a reason for that, and it's because the store has no building number. No one, not even the people at City Hall, know what the number of the store is. I don't know if they're supposed to have a number or not, but the fact is that Federal Express will not deliver without a business number. We couldn't make one up because it had to be an exact number. So the programming goes back to the home office and will be shipped back again by UPS. So bear with us, and maybe the next day or so we'll have more programming for you. Also, you heard Jeff report earlier on a story about some people killing some dogs. We have a reward offer tonight. We've been running this for a day or two now, and the reward has been up to $2,000. It's offered for information leading to the conviction of the person or persons who shot and killed a pet beagle dog on or about November 24th and wounded another dog with a .22 caliber pistol or rifle in the upper part of the old Spratland subdivision. The person who puts the reward out is Troy Clark. He says, "Come on, neighbors, and let's stop the killing of pets in our neighborhood. Only you can help. Step forth and let me prosecute to the fullest extent of the law." These words from Troy Clark. If you have any information, he'd like for you to call him at 983-4359. We'll be back with more after this.
All of us here at Channel 7 would like to wish these people a very happy birthday. Angela Renee Gray on her 14th birthday. Also having birthdays today are Patrick Davis, Diane Young, Louise Jeffries, and Sherry Blunt. Celebrating anniversaries today, Mr. and Mrs. Clement Ledbetter. They're celebrating their 43rd anniversary.
And Jeff, I'd like to wish my father a happy anniversary. To Dave and Shirley Edwards, it's their 11th anniversary today. Happy anniversary.
We'll be back with closing comments right after this.
Well, that's a look at Channel 7 News, Sports, and Weather on a Thursday afternoon. I'm Gene Redwine. Good evening.
And I'm Jeff Snyder. Have a pleasant good evening.
Good evening for Channel 7 News. I'm Gene Redwine. Tonight we'll have a look at a talk with Mr. Carson Wood, Hospital Administrator of the Community Hospital of Calhoun County. We'll also take a look at a little different type of farming, college and high school sports update, birthdays and anniversaries, and the one and only Smiling Jeff Snyder.
Thank you, Gene. We'll have a look at some of the things that are going to be going on at Fantasy Day tomorrow up in Calhoun City on the Square. We'll have more details on DSL's closing. And a Boonville man is assaulted during the Boonville Christmas Parade. And we'll also take a look at the weather and much, much more right here on Channel 7 News right after this. The 1982 Mr. and Mrs. Candy Cane Beauty Pageant will be held Sunday, December the 12th at 2 p.m. in the American Legion Building in Calhoun City. There will be a $10 entry fee for the 9 age groups. For more information, call Bonnie Tunnell at 983-7237 or Pam Beckett at 983-2233 in Bruce. 3 Calhoun County citizens were arrested for suspicion of possession of cocaine last night, but charges were reduced. They are in the Calhoun County Jail and are being held for a misdemeanor charge, with bond being set at $500 apiece. They are awaiting laboratory results on the substance taken to find out and make the confirmation, that it is cocaine. They're apprehended by the Bruce Police Department. The street value of cocaine is estimated at $16,000. The preliminary hearing will be held in the Bruce City Courts with Judge Larry Bailey presiding. At this time of the newscast, we are unable to obtain the names of the offenders. Looking in other news, another local factory has fallen prey to hard economic times and has closed its doors. DSL Manufacturing Company Incorporated of Bruce, maker of men's and ladies' jeans, closed Wednesday due to the lack of orders. Plant manager Roland Duke stated about 150 workers were employed at the plant, but half had been laid off about 2 weeks ago. Our business has been declining mostly for the past year or year and a half. Call it recession, call it Reaganomics, or whatever, but it's been rotten. The decision to close the plant was made late last week by Noel Industries, the parent company in New York City. Employees were notified Monday of the situation. Unfortunately, due to lack of orders from the company's customers, it became necessary for management to make the decision to close DSL Manufacturing Company. Governor Thomas H. Keene announced Thursday he will veto a bill to require a minute of silence in public schools every day because it might be an unconstitutional mixture of church and state. It's unlikely that the bill could pass constitutional muster, Keene said in a veto message released to the public. The veto itself may not be filed legally until Monday, the next scheduled meeting of the State Assembly, which originally passed the bill. Supporters of the measure said they want to give the public school children a chance to pray in class if they wish. They also said they believe the measure was constitutional because it required only 1 minute of silence, not prayer, which the United States Supreme Court has ruled unconstitutional. We'll be back with more news right after this. Two Boonville men has been charged with assaulting an 82-year-old man while the Boonville Christmas Parade was underway. Leonard Holloway, age 82, has been in the Baptist Hospital in Boonville since he was beaten Tuesday night, Booneville police officials said. Wayne King, age 20, of Hatchie Street in Booneville, and Gary Weathers of Booneville were charged with aggravated assault, Police Chief of Booneville, Bobby Lambert, stated. King was in the city jail Thursday in lieu of a $10,000 bond. Weathers was released on $10,000 bond. Officials said Holloway, who also lives on Hatchie Street, was beaten with fists while the Christmas parade was in progress between 6 and 7 p.m. Police said two men asked Holloway if they could use his phone. He let them in and opened the trunk to get his hearing aid. The men saw the gun in the trunk and tried to take it away from Holloway, resulting in the fight, and from there, Holloway was assaulted. Authorities have completed an investigation into the alleged sexual assault of a 17-year-old girl by a Corinth policeman in the city jail last month. An Alcorn County grand jury will review the findings in April, Assistant Director Attorney Richard Bowen stated. The District Attorney's Office and the Alcorn County Sheriff's Department conducted the investigation after the girl accused Corinth Patrolman Andrew Adams of sexual assault. The girl charged that Adams assaulted her in the cell the afternoon of November 11th. The girl had been arrested November the 10th on a public drunkenness charge. Elsewhere in news, a man found sleeping in his car in the middle of the road with a boa constrictor around his neck pleaded guilty to drunken driving. John Caputo of Elmont was fined $350 and had his license revoked for 6 months. He had been found last May 18th slumped at the wheel of his car in the middle of the Lando Road in Lakeview. When police went to investigate, they saw a snake around Caputo's neck and feared he had been strangled by the boa. But the snake was just a pet and Caputo was just sleeping. Officers obtained a pillowcase from the squad car and apprehended the snake. Fantasy Day will be held tomorrow on the Calhoun City Square from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be live nativity scenes, there will be a kiddie train ride, an air gun booth, and Big Bird will also be present. That's a Fantasy Day tomorrow on the Calhoun City Square, weather permitting, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hope to see you there. Verna Fields, a pioneer film editor who began as an apprentice to movie-making great Fritz Lang and later won an Oscar for Jaws, one of the biggest box office hits of all time, has died at age 64. Ms. Fields, who since 1976 has been vice president of feature production at Universal Pictures, died Tuesday of cancer at Encino Hospital, the Universal Studio spokesman announced. A new computer technique which determines the shape of prostate cancer cells may help predict a patient's future, a medical researcher said Thursday. What we're talking about is image analysis. A Johns Hopkins School of Medicine urology professor, which is Dr. Donald Coffey, stated, with the aid of a computer, we're analyzing the image of tissues and quantifying it. Coffey said the study reported in the current issue of the Journal of Urology measured the shapes of nuclei in normal and cancerous cells from prostate glands removed from 27 patients treated for the cancer disease at Johns Hopkins Hospital between 1951 and 1963. Coffey said cancer of the prostate, a male reproductive system gland, is the third leading cause of cancer and death in men and the second most common type of cancer in men also. We'll be back with a look at a couple more items in Channel 7 News right after this. State and area officers expanded the search Thursday for Bobby Steedham, a prisoner escapee last spotted in a swampy area of rural Rankin County. Torrance said officers circled the swamp with roadblocks late Wednesday and brought in tracking dogs in an attempt to locate Steedham. The dogs were unsuccessful, indicating Steedham had moved out during the night. He said Steedham might be attempting to reach his relatives in either Scott or Jones counties, and that roadblocks had been set up on the roads leading out of Rankin County. Meanwhile, Torrance, the police chief, said Lonnie Anderson, age 16th, of Delo, remained in custody. He said the youth, who seemed to have no one to take care of him, apparently had been held hostage by Steedham. Officers said earlier that they were unsure whether Anderson had been taken hostage or had simply been talked into accompanying Steedham. Ken Jones, the Department of Corrections spokesman said Steedham had escaped November the 3rd from the state penitentiary at Parchman, where he was serving a burglary sentence. In other news, when Richard Lucas of the Peppertown community left J.C. Penney's in Tupelo Sunday afternoon, he didn't know he was $701 richer than he was when he went into the store. Somehow, a money bag containing that amount of money was placed in his shopping bag along with a few pairs of jeans he had bought for his son. Lucas, age 48, got all the way home and settled down for the evening when the store manager, George Worley, called him and asked him to check his shopping bag for the money. Lucas's 10-year-old son unstapled the shopping bag and dumped the jeans out on the family couch, and sure enough, a money bag tumbled out of the bag. I was surprised to find the money bag, Lucas said, but it wasn't mine, so I didn't want it. Lucas had gone shopping at the department store and had made his purchase right before the store closed at 6 p.m. I paid for the jeans with a check, Lucas recalled. The cashier clipped my bag together, and I left the store. I didn't know the money was in my shopping bag. After receiving a phone call at home from the cashier, Worley went to the store to help look for the missing bag. They started retracing the steps of what might have happened. The cashier thought she might have put it in Lucas's bag. Fortunately, he had written a check for his purchase, and that's when they called him at home. Lucas said he had offered to bring the money back to the store and the following day, and Worley could come out to his house and pick it up. I'm glad they came out to pick it up because I didn't have to worry about the money all night long. If the money hadn't been found, Worley said, it would have come out of the store profits because J.C. Penney is a self-insured company. The money would have been subtracted from the store's profits, which have eventually affected the employees' profit-sharing program. You have to go on to the assumption that everybody is honest, Worley also stated. Worley said he plans to send Lucas a letter of appreciation and a $50 gift certificate for returning the money. I'll be back with some more news and Gene with the sports right after this.
Well, it's been just over a year since the changeover at the Community Hospital of Calhoun County. Today, William Morgan got a chance to talk to Mr. Carson Wood, the administrator of the same, about their present status and some things we can expect in the future. Here's a look at that interview.
This is William Morgan with Channel 7 News, and we're visiting in the office of Mr. Carson Wood today at the Community Hospital of Calhoun County. And there's a few questions here that we'd like to ask Mr. Wood and get him to talk about. Mr. Wood, could you tell us what's going on right now with the hospital, sir?
Well, we have just celebrated our first birthday. We took over the hospital November 24th of 1981, and we made a lot of progress since then. Right now, we're in the process of bringing hopefully 2 new physicians to Calhoun County. Dr. Jim Oosterhout from Georgia, who is a board-certified general surgeon, will be here hopefully before the first of the year, and we're working very diligently to obtain the release of Dr. Ed Coleman from the Air Force. In the future, in the future, we're expecting to build a professional building and have doctors' offices and treatment rooms, and quite possibly some classrooms on hospital property. We hope to be producing fairly soon a patient information brochure, and quite possibly we will be sending out an informational newspaper throughout the community on your good health.
A few minutes, Mr. Wood, about possibly a weekly program on Channel 7, and could you tell us a little bit about what we might be talking to the community about on that, sir?
Yes, I think we have some very good people around that can help in home health aspects and provide a lot of information for diabetics and heart patients and this sort of thing. Hopefully we will be in the hospital and interview hospital employees and introduce the new physicians to the community, and possibly present some programming on the aspects of the hospital that the patient doesn't ever see. For instance, medical records and radiology and respiratory therapy, the various ancillary departments.
Okay, what do you think a hospital, you know, in a community like this community here, what do you think a hospital like this means to the community?
I think it means everything to a community. When people reach retirement age, one of the first things that they look for in a community is health care, the availability of health care. When a new industry comes to an area, one of the first things they look for is the availability of health care.
That's good. Is there anything else you might like to tell the people here today?
Well, we do look forward to being on TV with a regularly scheduled informational program, either 15 to 30 minutes, and we will be heavily involved in programming here at the hospital with some community information programs, possibly programs on CPR and the various aspects of home health care.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. That's Mr. Wood from the Community Hospital of Calhoun County. This is William Morgan for Channel 7 News.
Again, we thank Mr. Carson Wood for the interview, and we wish continued success to the hospital and staff of Community Hospital of Calhoun County. Well, Christmas is coming, and everyone's getting ready, and about this time each year, Ed Bartholomew goes to work. Now, Ed works for Weyerhaeuser all year, but like a lot of folks, he has a side interest, and about this time of year, he gets to be a pretty popular fella. We caught him in action today, and if you don't believe Al Steele will go anywhere to get a story, just take a look at this.
Joe Webb and myself in Davy's pickup truck, trying to follow this truck through the woods somewhere. We're not really sure where we're going just as yet, but we're going down along some fence row with, whoops, and there goes their truck off into the mud, and there's a swamp right in front of us. We're going out through some fields to try to locate the infamous Christmas tree, and we were hoping we might even run up on Santa Claus, but I don't think that truck's going to go anywhere. Those are some of Gene Redwine's friends in that truck, and Joe and myself had a really good time going out there. We're going to go now to some scenes and an interview with the guys who are in charge of those Christmas trees.
Out in the field with Charles and Ed, and we're going to turn it over to them and let them tell you a little bit about the Christmas spirit and some of these Christmas trees.
Thank you, Al. These trees that you're looking at now are 3 years old, and they'll range anywhere from 4 to 7 feet. I've planted approximately 900 for the past 3 years, and I'll plant another 1,000 this year. The uptake on them, I mow about every 2 weeks and spray for weed control, spray for tip moth, and I fertilize quite heavily about 3 times a year. First Baptist Church youth that go to Ridgecrest are selling these trees for me, and what Baptist Church youth are selling these trees, and the proceeds over my costs are going to them and for their annual trip to Ridgecrest.
Where will you sell them at?
We're going to sell them this year on the square. This Saturday and for the next 3 weeks we're going to be selling trees.
Okay, you going to be set up on the square?
Right. This is Charlie Veruca. He's involved in the youth committee, and he's helping me cut the trees and get them to the square. Charlie?
Well, every year the past 3 years we've gone to Ridgecrest with the youth at the church, and we've done odd jobs such as collecting aluminum cans and having a work day where people call in and can hire somebody to help them on Saturday to cut grass or whatever. And we've been trying to think of a better way to raise money, since it's hard